Bam! Hey, hey! What is up? My bad. Why you do the boy like that? Good evening. It's good to see everybody. Come on in here. Got some cool stuff to say. This is in case it gets cold. It's cold here in Arkansas. We out in the woods. God, she's worried about my collar. It's the way that it is. What's up, Tarnowski? Hey, Mike. Preston down in Stuttgart, Arkansas. Yes, sir. Hey, Wendy. All right. Big news, big news, big news, big news. Excited about what's going on in our lives. Hey, Linda. We are definitely making we've made a transition, and we have resigned our church out in Southwest Little Rock, and praying about what is next. And so we're going to talk about what is next here in a minute. We are excited. There's something that has been, I know, 8 p.m. Florida time. Jason, Jason, are you at the fire station or are you at home? I'll do it better. So if you're in Florida, just say, what's up, Dorshak? If you're in, his name's Dorshak.
I know.
If you're in Florida and you see our times are at 7 o'clock, then that's what time it is in Central Standard Time is really the only time that matters, the Eastern Time Zone. You guys, I love you, but I hate that you can't watch television until 10 o'clock at night. So it's good to be able to go to bed at 10 when you're old. You know, something happened several years ago when we were down in Florida. And my day in Florida went a little bit like this on a Sunday. We'd get there really early. We'd have a couple of Sunday morning services. After that, we would take people and we'd go out to dinner or lunch and eat. And then a lot of times I would have a small group in my office teaching before 6 o'clock, maybe a board meeting. And during that time, I received a phone call from one of my friends, and he said, hey, I have a lady that would like to come see you. And I said, all right. And I started thinking about what time. He said she lives an hour and a half away, and she can only get here in Bartow about 9 or 10 o'clock tonight. And so my first reaction, I'm going to be honest with you and tell you that I wasn't feeling that. Everything that we had to go through during the day, and then to top it off, I had 2 small groups at my house starting at 6 o'clock, and one small group, they were young adults that would eat all of my food and put their stinky feet on my furniture, and some of them didn't even know. I had a kid named Frankie Floyd, who's co-pastor in a great church down in Florida. Frankie Floyd, I could not get this kid to leave my house. And so I started thinking about all these different things. And I asked my friend, why do you need me to meet with her? And I said, does she have a pastor? And he said, she doesn't have a pastor. She doesn't have a church. And they really need someone to talk to. And so I said, you know what? I'll do it. Call me when they get here. And so I was watching an NBA game, trying to chill out a little bit, and Frankie stopped eating everything in my house, and the phone rang. My friend said they're here. I turned to Stacy and the rest of them, and I said, you know, when y'all finish whatever you're going to do, you know, don't wait up for me. I'll be back. I jumped on my motorcycle and I drove up to the church. And when I drove up into the church, I noticed 4 people standing over by the Family Life Center. And so I walked up to him, introduced myself to him, and her name was Debbie. She had a bandana over her head. You could tell that she was sick. Something was going on. And her husband, I looked into his eyes, and you could just see fear. I had no earthly idea anything about this couple. Something prompted me to go to the other building and go into the sanctuary. And I never do that. I always do counseling in my office. They made me a suite office, and it was awesome. And I would do counseling there. But something prompted me to go into the sanctuary. And so I took them there, and I sat down and introduced myself to them. And I asked, you know, what's going on? And she took off her bandana off of her head, and she had a port with tubes draining off of the side of her head. And she said, I have terminal brain cancer, and they've only given me a very small chance of living. And at that moment, I knew what was up with her husband, and I knew that fear that was in his eyes. And so before I even asked about being healed of cancer or anything, I asked her, do you have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ? Are you a Christian? And she told me no. She said, I'd never been in church. I wasn't raised in church. No one ever took me to church. I don't know anything about church, but I heard that you would be someone that would meet with me. And so I started describing what it meant to become a Christian. And right then and there, we prayed. It was an amazing moment. After that moment, we started talking about what she was facing. The next day, on Monday, she was going in. That next morning, she was going in to have an invasive brain surgery to try to remove the cancer out of her brain. And so we talked about faith, and I described about faith and talked about how you have hope and all these different things. And as quickly as they came, whoosh, they were gone. They were gone. I got back on my bike, drove back to the house. Everybody was gone except Frankie Floyd, still in the kitchen, eating everything in sight. I went to bed, and all I could think about was this lady named Debbie, who just came into my life when it wasn't convenient, when it wasn't necessarily the greatest time. She came into my life for a brief moment, and they disappeared into the heat of the night, driving to the unknown. I've been doing ministry now for 18 years. We went to church every now and then as a kid. I can't really remember going to a church other than a youth group after I was about 13 or 14 years old. We just didn't do that. And so when I became a Christian, I had to self-teach myself. Really no Bible college. I took it online, and I was credentialed with a denomination. And so the last 18 years has been a blast. But now the big change. This is what I have learned. And before you judge us, and before you just turn us off, or you say that we're crazy or laugh at us, I want you just to look and see the way that culture is trying to push God out of our lives. And culture is trying to make us feel guilty when the school schedules a basketball game at 7 o'clock on Wednesday, when the city schedules a soccer game on Sunday at 8 or 9 o'clock. And so as we were beginning to talk about this, Stacy and I were beginning to talk about what we were going to do next, and where we were going to be able to do ministry. Tried to walk away from it. I tried to leave. For the last 6 weeks, I've been in transition. I have applied at a job that I really thought that I wanted to do. And when the time came to go in and do it, I couldn't do it. I called them and I said, I apologize. Sorry I wasted your time. So I've been trying to leave this. I've been trying to leave ministry. I've been trying to leave teaching and leading and all these different things. And it all comes back to how culture is trying to push God out of our lives. And so we are going to do something crazy. I know that there are certain churches and there's certain pastors who are trying to do a little bit of this through their websites and different things. And Stacy said something really good, and I wrote it down. She said, you know what? Not working God in your schedule. That's not what we're doing. What I'm about to tell you what you're doing. We're not trying to work God in your schedule. It's making God a priority. And so ask yourself this question. Would you rather try to do something different in life and build a relationship with Christ and lead your family and all these different things? How would you like to do that without the guilt of what culture is trying and causing us to do? Because nothing is sacred. Wednesdays and Sundays are no longer sacred. Culture has taken that. I remember when I was a little boy that you couldn't even go down to the grocery store and get milk. Yeah, I'm old. I remember on Sundays stuff was shut down. Yeah, you hear me? Closed. You can't go in there and buy jack. You had to get it Sunday. So now culture has shifted from that. And so what we are going to do is we're not only going to embrace, but we are going to allow you an opportunity to join with us. And Stacy has been instrumental in this, and her wisdom and knowledge to be able to do this is fantastic. Awesome. Join with us at homeandcommunitychurch.com or HCC. homeandcommunitychurch.com. We will be out of, and our website will be monitored and messed with, and I don't know what all they're going to do down there, down in Winter Haven, Florida. And so, Florida peeps, there you are. We're coming back to Winter Haven. We're coming to Japan. We're coming to Mississippi. We're coming to Delaware. We are going to, where did we say?
Columbia.
We're going to Columbia. Tito, if you're here, I would love to hear from you to make sure Tito, you and your family are okay. Let me know. And so what we are doing is we are going to be a home and community church. We are going to give you some things here in a minute, but we're going to give you the opportunity to partner with us, attend church with us, receive weekly sermons. We're going to do some live worship. It's going to be absolutely incredible. This stuff has been keeping me awake at night. And so we started thinking, all right, what are people looking for? Now, I do know this, and I do know that there are, what's up, Andy? I do know that there are, what's up, Chad? I do know that there are going to be some older people who are not going to be able to wrap their mind around this. But what I am feeling in my spirit is not to buck and get upset at the younger generation about this silly phone that they're always on, but to be able to somehow get the word, get the message of Christ, get the grace and mercy that we all want taught in our lives to come right to, yep, you see what I'm talking about? Right there. I believe that there will be less and less people attending a church building. And again, some people are going to get upset with me, but I believe more and more people are going to be attending less in a church building per se, and attending when they can, when it is convenient. And again, we're not working God into our life. we are trying to keep him there and make it a priority. All right? And so I started thinking, you know, the whole deal about clothes and what you wear. I have camo on. All right? And my wife is dogging me. This is just how it is. It's a hood. It's yes, you did. You said my hood's all messed up. Anyway, you don't have to worry about that. You can come to church and watch. People are looking for flexibility. People are looking for personal spiritual growth. And here's the difference. Bam! Here's the difference. You are going to get access, if you want to call me the senior pastor of homeandcommunitychurch.com, you can, HCC, whatever it is. You are going to have 24/7 access for a time, 24/7 access to pastoral counseling through FaceTime, over the phone, if you just want to talk on the phone. You're going to have access for prayer. You are going to have access to the pastor's wife, because I don't understand women. I ain't figured them out yet. Probably never figure them out. And that's okay. You are going to have access, and this is the difference. A lot of guys are doing this. They're posting their sermons, and it's fantastic. I'm all for it. But the difference is, and what I want to be able to provide to you as you join with us is access. Access. Because some of you can't talk until 3 o'clock in the morning because you work nights. Access. Because some of you can't go to... I heard a story in Walmart. Long story. But I ran into somebody. And she was telling me a story, which is just God confirming this. She was telling me a story about a kid who just passed away. And he did not attend church because he was overweight. All right? He didn't feel good about himself. He never attended church. He passed away recently. And the family, of course, has all those questions that family members go through when they lose a loved one. But let me tell you something. He could have had access to a pastor and to a friend by picking up the phone. And so you partnering with us, we'll be able to do that. I also want to bring up something that Stacy said. You know, it's important that we continue to somehow stay in community with each other. And so the home part of it is Sundays at 7 o'clock. This is going to be your church time. Wednesdays, we're going to have an interactive Bible study at a certain time. I'm not sure. On Sunday mornings, you'll have worship, and you will have some type of teaching. And then for your kids, those of you that have kids, that we will be able to download kids' devotions or what you want to do. And if you're like me, and some of you are, and I've never professed to be good at this. I tried to do this with my kids and do devotions with my kids. You know what my kids wanted to do when we did devotions? They wanted to fight. All right? And almost every time I tried to do some devotion on my own, one of the kids was getting sent to the room. And then when one kid got sent to the room, the other one would do what? Laugh at the other one. And you know, they'd be sent to their room. And so I failed at that. Yeah, I was a pastor. They were with me on Sundays, and I was preaching and all that stuff to them. That's a big red-headed woodpecker that lives in my backyard. He's bad to the bone. But anyway, I failed at that. And so we want to help you. Now, the community part of this mind-blowing. So many people want to do something for someone. But a lot of times, they can't make it on Saturday mornings at 8 o'clock when the church going out to clean a park. or they can't make it at 8 o'clock on a Thursday when they're going to go Christmas caroling or what, just whatever. Now check this out. We want you to be in charge of you. And those of you who don't like church people, and you say, you know what, I ain't going to no church. They're a bunch of hypocrites. Guess what? You are going to be the person in your church, in your house. And so if you have hypocrites in your house, then you need to deal with that. So those of you who say, I don't want to part of no church, be with no part of church and all that. So you are your own people. Give me a knuckle, Stacy. That was good. Now in community, we want you to do random acts of kindness. And when you do that, we want you to post that with pictures on our website. Now, websites coming up, websites take time and all this stuff, but you can post that and put the story down and show your kids, what's up, Braxton? Show your kids how to give back. And so we have the home part of this, and then we have the community part of this. So the home is the teaching and the stuff that we're doing now, and the community is individually doing something. Now watch this. Boom! All right. We want to eventually get together in areas that we have a bunch of viewers. Okay? And so if there are a ton of people down in Central Florida, then once a month we can, Stacy and Allie is all about this, fly down to Florida, hang out on a Saturday or Friday afternoon or do something, get together and say, what's up? We could either even establish a small group or a campus down in Florida. I have no earthly idea. I have no earthly idea how awesome this is going to be. But I do know this. I have to start somewhere. And we have to start somewhere. Now, if you are wanting to partner with us, this is what I need for you to do. I need you to email me. All right? I need you to email me at tbcovington, tbcovington at tcovington21 at gmail.com.
TB Covington.
TB Covington. Hey, this is new, man. TB Covington21 at gmail.com. Or be so easy. All you have to do is put your email address. You see this little button down here where some of y'all are putting stuff and hey, what's up, Tiffany Beasley, Josh? Hey, yeah, during snook season. Yeah, I want to catch some more snook. And Allie and Stacy want to go to that Anna Maria, whatever that Rob. Put your email address down here. If you want to partner with us, put your email address down there, and we are going to make this unbelievable. They are going to make this unbelievable way of getting in contact with you, giving you some more information. Now, here is my new cell phone number. I don't have my other cell phone. It's whoosh. And so if you've been calling that and I hadn't been answered and you're mad at me, I didn't have it. Okay? So it's this. It's 501-554-3515. Hey, 501-554-3515. Of course, you can always send me a message on Facebook. You can always send a carrier pigeon to where we live, and it'll get here eventually. But we are excited. We are excited about what is going on in the future. Now, I know this. I know that there will be preachers and pastors that will laugh at this. I do know that there will be people who are critical of this. I've been doing it for a long time. And critical people and negative people, this is a teaching moment here in a minute. I'm going to finish my story about Debbie. Critical people and negativity are just simply a part of life. All right? Write it down. Chalk it up. You're just going to have it. You're going to have it at the house, unfortunately. You're going to have it at the office. Negativity, negative people, critical people, it's just part of life, okay? And if you can accept that now, it will work out a whole lot better for you. So you can put your email address down here, and we're going to send you some information. And you can text me. I'm already getting text messages, and that's fantastic. All access. Brrr, all access. All this wisdom I got up in this big old head of mine. You see this big old head? Now, let me tell you something now. Now, if you're looking for somebody to tell you what you want to hear, then don't contact me, because I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. And my counseling sessions either go one or two ways. They're either fantastic or they're horrible. All right? And so I'm not that guy. If you want a guy to get on Facebook Live on Sunday morning and air now and then, don't you dare talk about sin. You don't want to be part of us, because that's part of the Bible, and I want to try to keep you out of heaven. You know what I'm saying? And so this big head, this knowledge and all the bumps and all the stupid decisions and choices that I've made in my past, I can help you avoid all of that silliness. Now, why am I so passionate about this? Because a lady named Debbie came into my life on a Sunday evening, hot in Florida. It's hot all the time in Florida, but it is hot in Florida. She came into my life on a Sunday evening when I was tired. I didn't want to go over there. I wasn't her pastor. I sat with her and prayed for her. I believed in faith. She became a Christian that night. Unfortunately, Debbie died because of complications of that surgery. Now, watch this. Maybe if Debbie would have had access to something like this, she wouldn't have had to get out in the heat of the night and drive an hour and a half, when she could just pick up the phone and FaceTime a pastor and say, hey, I have questions. I have questions. I want to know this. I want to know that. The reason why I couldn't get away from ministry and being a pastor is because of this. This is the only thing that matters. In the end, your salvation, your family's salvation, your kids, your grandkids, that knuckleheaded nephew that won't clean up the trash when you tell. The only thing that matters in the end is salvation. And so we gave our lives as a couple. And Stacy is going to be instrumental in helping with this. We've given our lives as a couple to do ministry. And so HCC is homeandcommunitychurch.com. So many of you are going to that website right now. Guess what? You're going to have to wait a little bit. This is fresh off the press. I mean, this just really happened. This just kind of blew up. You know what I'm saying? And so this kept me up for 4 days. And some of y'all know how much I like to sleep. This kept me up for 4 days. And so HCC, we will be based out of all of our internet and things that will be based out of the huge metropolis of Winter Haven, Florida. You will be able to attend church whenever you want to, however you want to, wearing whatever you want to. You will have access to a pastor, access to a pastor's wife, Christian counseling, premarital counseling, marital counseling, all of this stuff. All you're going to have to do is partner with us, and we are going to be your church. Now, let me say this. Hey, Joe, tell James I said hi. I think about him all the time. Love that kid. Love your whole family. Tell Hunter too. Let me tell you this. If you attend a church, you can log on, you can watch, you can do all that. I am not here to take church people out of their churches. It bothers me when people do that. It bothers me when people last years would go after my church people. I fought it all the time. So if you're involved in a church, if you're here in Little Rock, you attend the Little Rock campus, that's your church. Do your thing. We want you to grow and get involved and all these things. This is for people who are searching. This is for people who don't feel comfortable in a church. This is for people who culture is making. We just had another phone call just yesterday, I guess. Someone calling up and saying that their kid wants to play in sports, especially in Florida, and they feel guilty because they want their child to, compete and excel. I did too. My kid played travel sports, and he'd sneak into the balcony at night after in second service and all dusty and musty and all that stuff. I get it. But somebody feeling guilty about that. Now, some of you might say, well, you're just trying to make God convenient. No. Can you imagine a family stopping or maybe even on their way to be able to watch church together, ask a question down here about something, be able to get almost instant feedback? Can you imagine the lesson that you are teaching your child and the commitment level that you are showing them about, yeah, we're going to go out here and we're not necessarily going to a church this Sunday, but we have our church. And what's it called? Let me hear you say it. HCC, Home and Community Church.com. Coming at you. And so you have my cell phone number. You have my email address. You have full access starting now. I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.